Okay, so in this video I will show you how to write the first program in Python, basically the hello world program. Before that, in the previous video I showed you how to launch Jupyter Notebook. So once you launch Jupyter Notebook, whether you are working on Windows, whether you are working on Linux or Mac, whatever, when you will launch the Jupyter Notebook, you will see this web-based interface. And here you, in the right corner, you can see the button new. You just click it, you will select Python 3, and you will see a beautiful interface in front of you that will allow you to code here. There are a lot of file, edit, view. There are a lot of buttons, kernel, and a lot of controls here. We will see them as we move on, but this is how you, this is what the coding environment is. This is kind of editor as well as, this is complete IDE interface in front of you. So let's see this interface a little bit step by step, at least the controls that we need. First of all, you are seeing where my cursor is moving. That's the file name or the notebook name. You can change the notebook name, or you can just write, for example, whatever the name of the notebook you want. For example, mastering Python for beginners. Okay, so let's say that's your mastering Python. Let's say 0 to hero maybe. So let's say this is your file name. You just create that file and you see this mastering Python 0 to hero. That file is created. With this file is renamed. Second, this is a cell in which you are going to type your code. The code, the two modes of writing is, one is you can write the Python code. Another way is you can write the markdown. The markdown is important in a way that if you want to describe your code, if you want to write other stuff other than Python code, you can use these markdown cells and they will be helping you. For example, if I select this markdown and I just select this markdown and I type here, for example, this is Python tutorial, and then I press shift enter, it will appear as a heading, and a new cell will be created down. This is also a cell, but this is a markdown cell, as you can see. Now in this cell, that's a code cell. You can switch a cell from code to markdown by just pressing an escape key. When you press an escape key, you will see the color will change here. You can press escape key, then if you press M, it will change to markdown, and if you press Y, it will change to a code cell. There are several shortcuts that are available, keyboard shortcuts. If you just see, if you go to help and see this keyboard shortcuts, there are several shortcuts that will be available in front of you. So for example, if you press escape and then press F, you can do the find and replace operation. If you press enter, then that will go into edit mode. If that's important, if you press shift enter, the cell will run and the cursor will go into the new cell. And there are a lot of controls. You should be seeing most of them. Getting a good grip on these controls will help you moving in this Jupyter Notebook very quickly. So for example, this is a Python tutorial. That's a markdown cell. You can also create this cell also as a markdown cell, and then you can type here, for example, this is our first program in Python. It is just started here, for example, and it just appears like a description. And again, a new cell is created down, and there you can write your code. So let's write the first Python code, hello world. So first of all, you will write print. Print command will allow you to print anything on the screen. Parentheses, double quotes, starts, ends, and in the double quote you write whatever you want to be printed on the screen. So for example, hello world. And once you have written that code, just press shift and enter, and this code will execute in front of you. So that's hello world printed in front of you. And that's our first program. I mean, writing the very first program in Jupyter Notebook is that easy. Not only that, this Jupyter Notebook will be created. You can just, I mean, describe anything. You can write the headings. You can write HTML in it. You can write math using LaTeX. And for example, let me write LaTeX or math in front of you. Just let's say you are making a notebook that requires some mathematics in it, and it allows you to write mathematics as well. For example, A equals B plus C, shift enter, and that appears like a mathematical equation. Not just this, you can write very complicated equations. I mean, and this whole notebook will contain your descriptions in terms of HTMLs or LaTeX or descriptions and code and all that mixed up, whatever. And at the end, you can just download this. You can just download this this notebook as if you want a PDF file. If you want a notebook file, it's a notebook file. If you want a LaTeX, if you want just a Python file, if you want slides, for example, I mean, you can download the same thing as slides. It will make slides for you. So there are a lot of ways of using this notebook, and that's a ready-made document. I mean, you end coding, the document is ready for you. So this notebook is really powerful, Jupyter Notebook, and coding in it is not just the coding. I mean, it is preparing a document. If you want to prepare a document, you want to describe anything, you want to add images, and at the end of the day, it will be an HTML document for you. It can be shared on web. I mean, it's ready. Nothing we want to further finish it. So that was our Hello World program in Python. We will continue to build this Mastering Python 0 to Hero notebook. We will continue coding in that. We will describe the headings. We will write the markdown cells and all that stuff. And we will, at the end of this course, you will be having one notebook with all kind of descriptions and code in it. You can use that notebook afterwards. We will be building one notebook, one complete notebook for Python. So that's about it. That's the Hello World. In the next video, we will see what are the constructs in Python, what are variables and other stuff. But before that, I also wanted to show that this notebook is an enhanced version or the upgraded version of IPython shell. And I also want to show you IPython shell as well. So in the next video, we will just see the IPython shell, and we will see how can we view Python as just as a calculator by using IPython shell. So hope to see you in the next video. Okay, so in this particular video, I'm going to show you the IPython shell. Just open up the Anaconda prompt as before. Like you want to open a Jupyter Notebook, then you just type here Jupyter Notebook, and you will be in the notebook world, Jupyter Notebook world. But if you just type an IPython and press enter, then a prompt is open for you in a colored way, and this is perfectly fine to write any kind of Python code in here. Actually, the Jupyter Notebook is a more enhanced and more featured version of IPython. Basically everything that that is there in IPython is there in Jupyter Notebook as well, but it has more features, more documentation and stuff. So for example, if I just write a Python code here, hello world, let's say, it will work in IPython shell as well. But remember, previously in Jupyter Notebook, we type shift enter to run a particular command. Here we just press enter and everything will work. If you want to clear the screen here, whatever we typed here, if you want to clear that, just press Control L. If you are on Windows, Control L will work on Windows. Now IPython is just like you can use the Python in this particular shell just like a calculator. For example, you want 2 plus 3, press enter, that's 5. Let's say it's 9 multiplied by 7, the answer is 63. You can write a complicated statement as well. For example, 45 minus 8 is static, or multiplication. Static is achieved by multiplication is achieved by a static symbol 7, and then you can have this minus 10 divided by 2, and just press enter, and that's the answer, 16.0. If for example, by the way, I have just pressed the up arrow key and the last command just appears. I have pressed up arrow key again and the second last command appears. I press the up arrow key again and the third last command appears, and now I'm pressing the down arrow keys. So for example this, and you may have whatever the result is, you may have that multiplied by 10 and minus or maybe plus plus 15. So the result is minus 145 and so on. So this IPython shell, you can write very complicated or almost, I mean, the complete Python coding can be written in IPython shell, and you can use this shell just for a calculator. Now let's see, for example, you compute this result, let's say 45 minus 9, and let's say you compute this result, whatever the result is, and you save that result in a symbol. Let me call that symbol as a variable. In here the variable is a. Let's say you save that in a, and then you have another variable, let's say b, and 3 static 45 or maybe 3 static 2.6, that is saved in b. Now you have done this particular calculation. You know that 45 minus 9 is in a, the result is in a, and then you have this particular result that is in b, and now you just want to add the two results together, and you want to print the what normal calculators does not have the support of saving the results and reusing them, but here in Python, even if you just want to use the Python just as a calculator, you can declare as many variables as you can, and you can save the previous results, you can retrieve the previous results, and you can use the previous results, save new results, and so on. These kind of symbols that are used to save the results and then they can be just used afterwards, these are called variables, and our next video will be on variables. What are these variables? What are their types? What kind of variables the Python supports? One way or the other, if you want to go beyond calculators, you need certain results to be saved and retrieved afterwards. And the variables are the constructs, the variables are the features that actually do that. So the calculator is fine. You can use this IPython shell just as a calculator, but if you want to do interesting programming, complicated programs, I mean, you want to achieve a task that involves much more calculations, one way or the other, you have to save certain results in somewhere, and then you have to combine the results together, because the longer problems normally are broken up into smaller piece of problems, and each smaller problem has a result that should be saved somewhere, and afterwards the several results, they should be combined to achieve the result that we are after. So these variables are required if you are going to do some interesting or complicated calculations or computations. So you, by the way, before having these Jupyter notebooks, which are just the enhanced version of this IPython shell, the IPython shell, just people used to write a lot of Python programming just in IPython shell, and even today several people are writing their code, complete code in IPython shell. But the Jupyter notebook, it is more enhanced version, more documented, more I mean, it has better interfaces and several features that are better than just using IPython shell. So you have seen this IPython shell, it's very powerful, great, everything is fine with it, but we will be using Jupyter notebooks, which are just the enhanced variants of this IPython for our upcoming coding. So the purpose of this video was just to introduce you with IPython shell, and just to tell you that you can use Python just as a calculator, and even more than that. In the next video, we will be introducing variables in Jupyter notebook, and we will see the Python is really much more powerful than just a calculator. So hope to see you in the next video.